On this Monday morning, I have one question for you. Who is God? Who is God to you? Maybe you know God as your loving Father. Maybe you've experienced God as your healer or provider. Or maybe you think of God as distant, angry, and judgmental. No matter how you answer that question, your view of God carries incredible weight in your life. In fact, one of my favorite authors wrote, "What comes into your minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us." Our view of God influences the way we look at ourselves. Our view of God influences the way we look at others and the world around us. Our view of God influences the way we look at ourselves, others, and the world around us. That's why it is so very important to build our foundation of who God is based on the unchanging truth of his word, not the temporary state of our feelings. Maybe you have experienced grief, loss, or disappointment that left you feeling angry or even hurt by God. Maybe you've met other Christians who made you feel judged and condemned, so you think God is the same way. Perhaps you've tried to pray or even connect with God, but you feel nothing. So you think that he's distant, cold, and or uncaring. Truth is, those experiences and emotions are valid, but they aren't accurate representations of God's character. Distorting our view of God has been one of the enemy's tactics since the beginning of time. In the Garden of Eden, God walked with Adam and Eve, giving them just one limitation: don't eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. But the enemy swooped in, asking Eve whether God said she couldn't, and then convincing her that God was withholding something that they actually needed. And as a result, she ate the fruit, and sin entered the world, severing our relationship with God. Yet, through God's character, he never changed. His character never changed. He provided coverings for Adam and Eve, which actually foreshadowed his greatest act of sacrificial love, sending his perfect son, Jesus, to live a sinless life and to die in our place to restore our relationship with him. It is tempting to think that the God of the Old Testament is just judgmental, and that is the only God that we should know in the New Testament. But in the New Testament, we see mercy through Jesus. And the truth is, God has always been in the business of pursuing sinful people with his kindness before we ever pursued him. He has always been faithful to fulfill his promises. He has always been both just and merciful, holy and loving, sovereign and unchanging. The character of God is too deep, rich, and great to describe completely, but we see clues to it throughout the entire Bible. So today, as you think about God, consider how you are forming your view of him. Is it based on the truth of God's word or the pain of your past experiences? As we study the word daily, as you meditate on the word daily, think on that. Who is God? What is God to you? And how is it affecting your life experiences? How is it affecting your faith journey? Think about that today and be blessed.